New at 6, an alarming health trend impacting a lot of women across our area. Syphilis skyrocketing in Houston. Good evening, I'm Keith Garvin.
Thank you for joining us. I'm Daniela Guzman. Well, the Houston Health Department is calling the sharp rise in cases of the sexually transmitted disease an outbreak. KPRC2's Andy Sirota live in Sunnyside, where a community meeting was held today about this. Andy?
Danny, Keith, a number of medical directors from some of the community-based health clinics attended that meeting here today at the Sunnyside Health and Multi-Service Center, along with members of the Harris County and Fort Bend County Health Departments. Of all the cases Houston health officials are seeing, it's predominantly women of color who were most impacted. Nationally, there's been an uptick in syphilis cases, and health officials here say in many ways Houston is no different when it comes to what's happening in many major urban areas across the country right now.
As a large urban jurisdiction, we've got to be really aggressive in our response when we see these kinds of cases, because we have millions of people who may be at risk.
Since 2016, syphilis cases in women have increased by 128%. New infections rose from 1,845 in 2019 to nearly 3,000 in 2022. Cases involving women who passed the infection onto their baby during pregnancy soaring from 16 cases in 2016 to 151 in 2021.
To see the numbers rise in this alarming rate really sounded the alarm for us.
Houston health officials urging pregnant women to seek prenatal care and syphilis testing to protect themselves from an infection that could result in the death of their babies. Untreated syphilis during pregnancy can result in a stillbirth.
We're waiving fees, so we want to encourage folks to come in and get services.
Local health officials say they're seeing a lot of co-infections of HIV with syphilis, along with gonorrhea and chlamydia. The health department is working with medical providers and collaborating with its community-based partners to increase awareness of the outbreak and enhance testing and treatment in Houston neighborhoods. Some hot spots that health officials are watching include areas of Southwest Houston and some areas up on the north side. Syphilis, we were told, is easily treated with antibiotics. If you have questions about testing, you can call the Houston Health Department hotline. That number is 832-393-5010. Live in Sunnyside tonight, Andy Sirota, KPRC 2 News.
All right, Andy.
Man, thank you for joining us in our second half hour of the Fact
I wanted to
Uncensored.
talk about
Another
this.
reason to wear condoms and keep those STD tests up to date. Cases
And to tackle this is because it's getting real out here. It's getting real out here, but this is nothing new to what's been going on as far as this. But what was alarming to me is that they said that this affects women of color. I would love to see the statistics of that, regardless of whatever. Anything that happens where things of these cases, people of color are always going to be affected. Marginalized community are always going to be affected by it. But it was just pretending they was talking about people of color. I'm not going to say this is a propaganda. I'm not going to say this and that. And I'm not going to also try to just blame one group of people. It's easy to hear that and say it's affecting women of color and blame Black women for this. It's so easy to do that. And I watched a lot of other people's videos on this. And I want to take a different approach. And don't get me wrong, the other person did a marvelous video and explaining certain things, but I want to come at it from a different place. People of color has always suffered when it comes to these type of situations, poverty, sexually transmitted diseases, and these things. But there now, as they say, there's an uptick. Atlanta is going through the same thing. New York City is going through the same thing, but since it's so many people, they haven't just particularly mentioned people of color, but we know it affects them. Miami is also another thing. Any place that the devil's playground is this. But I just don't agree with just blaming Black women for this. and not blaming the overall problem with this situation. There's a culture when it comes to just that we are just involved in, and some people are just getting caught up. You have certain men who are down low, and then we have a certain, you know, I mean, when I say this is a multi-layered situation, I think it's very insensitive to just blame black women and say that they're the problem for this when we know that there's a lot of other co-conspirators. I'm not pointing no fingers. I'm just saying when it comes to this particular situation, how do we go about this? What can we do to do this? Only way to do it is address it in a way that makes a little bit more sense. Start being more proactive in the community. Start talking to kids more about, you know what I mean, practicing safe sex, abstinence, and this and that. But to completely just blame black women and say they're the reason for this, like we blame them for single motherhood, like we blame them for this, when I know it's a multi-layered situation. And that's all I'm saying. That's really all I'm saying. I'm just surprised that when he said that, woman of color, I was kind of surprised. I'm not gonna lie to y'all fellas. I was kind of surprised. I was saying, damn. There we go again. And then, you know what I mean? I don't understand how can a black woman feel when they keep being the topic of this discussion as far as that they're the reason for this, and that, when I know that I don't want to say that it's of being like, I don't want to go and say that it's a bit of like a scapegoat, you know what I'm saying? But I do want to say that it does go off and it just is a little bit different. It's a little bit different with this. So I want y'all in the comment and tell me, in Houston, I love y'all. I love y'all. And mind you, Houston, I didn't even go in depth about the nightlife culture and all of that because I'm not in Houston. So I don't know what's going on over there for me to blame Houstonians. I love Texas. H-Town down. Y'all have always showed me love when I come there. You know what I mean? Y'all get a bad rap. You know what I mean? A lot of people talk a lot of crap and then they never been there. I've never felt unsafe. I've been in the 5th ward, 3rd ward. I never had nobody try to rob me. But for this to be blanket over this, and every city has a city. I'm in a city that's dangerous. I'm in Miami. But you know what I mean? We get a lot of respect because it's sunny and beaches over here. But Houston has the best food, has the most beautiful women, have the most kindness people who give the shirt off your back. So to hear this and to hear that the news is saying that black woman is affected hurts my heart. I want to know what can we do to bring the positive image back. And tell me what you think about this topic. What you think about the uptick of STDs being there in Houston, and they're calling Houston the new Atlanta and this and that, because we know there's many people. And here's the funny thing about this, which they didn't say in it. A lot of people who move into Houston are transient people. Same thing with Atlanta. When they say a lot of women in Atlanta have diseases, are we talking about the people who are in Atlanta that's originally from there, or people who's moved over there? I haven't heard people talk that. Houston and Atlanta, within the last 3 years, upticks of over 1 million people from different places have moved there. The demographics of people are changing there. A lot of people who are in Houston are not from Houston. A lot of people who are in Atlanta are not from Atlanta. But this is the place where everybody wants to go, and they bring their problems to these cities. So this is why I say that these people who are going to get tested and stuff, are they from Houston? Are they Texans? Or these are people from out of state with Texas IDs who say, and they say, oh, I'm a Houstonian, but are you really from here? Because they'll bundle all these people up into these states. Let's not forget, Louisiana's right across down the street from y'all. A lot of Louisiana people move to Houston every single day. There's somebody moving to Houston every single day. So when I'm hearing this statistic and I'm hearing this, I don't want this to be blanket over the city of Houston. I don't want to say that the city of Houston has a STD problem when we know that the whole United States is going through an uptick with crime and everything. You know what I mean? And even to the point of they blanket this of women of color that's going through this. It hurts my heart, but we do need to be a little bit more proactive and start talking about the people back in the days. We need to have a wrap it up program. Wrap it up. Wrap it up. But I love y'all. This is Chaos Culture Radio. I just wanted to do this quick because I thought this was serious. Like and subscribe. Share this video. I love you, Houston. Peace.